Hello and welcome to our channel. Today, we are going to talk about one of the most famous figures in the Christian world, Billy Graham. As one of the most influential evangelists of the 20th century, Graham inspired millions of people throughout his life, and his sermons had a global impact. Today, we'll take an in-depth look at Billy Graham's life and legacy. Who was Billy Graham? What did he achieve? And what kind of legacy did he leave behind? Let's search for the answers to these questions. Chapter 1. Youth and Beginnings. Billy Graham was born on November 7, 1918, in North Carolina, to a farming family. His parents, Frank and Morrow Graham, were deeply committed to the Christian faith, and Billy grew up in a religious environment. However, like many young people, he began to question his faith during his teenage years. As a young boy, Billy accepted the religious teachings around him, but he also began to ask his own questions about the existence of God and faith. As a result, at the age of 16, he made the decision to dedicate himself to God and deepen his faith. This moment was a significant turning point in Billy's life, as it laid the foundation for all of his future sermons. During this time, Billy began giving small sermons at local churches, but soon after, he decided to join the larger evangelistic movement. Evangelism, for those who might not know, is a religious movement that seeks to invite people to Christian faith through outreach events. When he succeeded in this, Billy began a journey that would impact millions of people worldwide. But what was behind Billy Graham's ability to create such a large impact as an evangelist? First, there was a key person and event that offered him the opportunity: the 1949 Los Angeles Crusade. At the age of 30, Billy Graham participated in a major evangelistic event in Los Angeles. However, this event didn't just reach a few people, it reached a massive audience. The attendance grew every day, and the media started covering it. Graham's sermons were broadcast on television channels. Overnight, Billy Graham became a well-known name in America. This event marked a turning point in Billy Graham's career. From that day on, he continued to give major sermons worldwide, reaching millions of people. Over time, his messages became an inspiration not only to Christians, but also to people from different faiths. Chapter 2. Stepping into Evangelism and Early Years. After the success of the Los Angeles Crusade, Billy Graham continued his sermons without slowing down. This event of 1949 was not only the beginning of his personal career, but also a turning point in modern Christian evangelism. His sermons were so impactful that many people in America either renewed their faith or converted to Christianity thanks to them. The Los Angeles Crusade lasted for 8 weeks, and attendance grew every day. Every night, thousands of people came to listen to Billy Graham's sermons. The event was publicized through television and radio, helping Graham's message reach an even wider audience. During this period, Graham introduced the famous altar call at the end of his sermons, inviting people to express their commitment to God. This had a profound impact. What was the secret behind Graham's success? His sermons used simple yet powerful language, emphasizing God's love and forgiveness. People found opportunities in Graham's talks to deepen their relationship with God and to find inner peace. This approach not only made him known as an evangelist, but also as a leader. People saw him not only as a religious figure, but also as a guide. After the events in Los Angeles, Graham started to give sermons on a much larger scale. In the early 1950s, he organized major crusades across America. These campaigns involved not only sharing religious teachings, but also addressing social issues. In 1957, Graham held a 16-week campaign at Madison Square Garden in New York, which also garnered tremendous attention. Chapter 3. Billy Graham and Evangelism. One of the most defining features of Billy Graham's career was that he wasn't just an evangelist, he was a true evangelist leader. Evangelism in Christianity is the task of spreading the gospel and leading people to conversion. Graham's mission was not only to introduce people to the teachings of Christianity, but also to guide them toward a true transformation in their faith and life. What are the key characteristics of the evangelistic movement? Evangelists typically preach to large crowds, aiming not only to educate people, but to spiritually guide them toward a relationship with God. Billy Graham took on this task with immense passion and faith. He didn't just want to introduce people to Christianity. He called them to make profound changes in their lives. One of Billy Graham's most notable traits was his commitment to guiding people toward real transformation in their lives. He always wanted people to deepen their relationship with God. His message, "God's love changes everything," resonated with an entire generation. Billy Graham's sermons were usually very large-scale. From the 1950s to the 2000s, he preached to millions worldwide. Many of his sermons were broadcasted on television and radio, allowing his messages to reach people at home. In the 1960s, as television became more influential, Graham effectively used this new medium to spread his message across the globe. Billy Graham's global outreach didn't stop at America. He held major campaigns in countries like Australia, the UK, Germany, and Korea. His sermons in Korea, particularly during the difficult years of the 1950s and 60s when the country was recovering from war, had a huge impact. Graham brought hope to the people of Korea, acting as a source of moral encouragement during a time of great hardship. Chapter 4. Books and Writings. We must not forget that Billy Graham had a significant impact not only through his sermons, but also through the books he wrote. Over his lifetime, Graham authored more than 30 books. These books ranged from religious teachings to personal reflections on life. Here are a few of his most well-known and widely read works. The Journey. This book addresses the personal spiritual journey of building a deeper relationship with God. In it, Graham discusses the fundamental principles of the Christian faith, while encouraging people to develop a closer connection with God. The Good News for All. In this work, Billy Graham focuses on the importance of spreading the gospel to the world and invites people to discover God's love. This book captures the essence of his sermons throughout his life and aims to present the teachings of Christianity in a simple yet profound way. The Journal of a Preacher. This book contains Billy Graham's memoirs from his years as an evangelist. It includes many experiences and reflections from the early years of his ministry to his large crusades and their societal impact. Graham's books offer a deeper look into his sermons and life. They garnered immense interest, not only from the Christian community, but also from a general audience. People of all ages found spiritual guidance in his writings, and these books continue to be read to this day. Chapter 5. His Impact on Society and Global Legacy. Billy Graham's influence extended far beyond the scope of religious preaching. At one point, he became one of the most recognizable names in America. As media evolved, Graham's sermons were broadcast not only in churches, but also on television, radio programs, and in newspapers. Billy Graham was a figure who reshaped the approach to religion in modern society. He didn't just answer individual spiritual questions, but he also took a stand against religious intolerance, racism, wars, and poverty. As an evangelist, Graham became an advocate for social justice and peace. By promoting both individual and societal change, he demonstrated how religion could influence not just people's spiritual lives, but their social lives as well. Billy Graham's societal influence wasn't limited to religious content. He was also a leader who took a clear stance on global issues like peace, racism, war, and justice. In addition to being an evangelist, Graham was a figure of social change. Fighting racism and advocating for social justice, the 1950s and 60s were years of intense racism in America. Graham's fight against racism was one of the most significant aspects of his societal impact. He took a clear stance against racial segregation and advocated for people from different racial backgrounds to be seen as equals in the eyes of God. In 1953, during an event in North Carolina, Graham clashed with local authorities who attempted to prevent a busload of African Americans from attending the event. He persuaded them to allow these individuals to participate. Graham raised his voice against discriminatory laws and practices that prevented African Americans from attending his events. Organizing gatherings where both black and white people sat together was a bold step in 1950s America. Billy Graham's stance earned him great respect and helped him gain trust as a fair and humane leader in the eyes of the public. Peace and global influence. Graham invited people to embrace peace and tolerance both locally and globally. Especially during the years of major conflicts like the Korean War and the Vietnam War, Billy Graham made calls for peace to world leaders. His messages, like "God loves peace, and we should love peace too," became a beacon of hope amidst the destruction and suffering caused by war. During the Vietnam War, Graham didn't just preach to the masses, but also personally visited American soldiers stationed there, offering them spiritual support. He delivered morale-boosting talks to the soldiers, encouraging them to trust that their faith in God would help them stand strong even in the toughest of circumstances. Cultural legacy and television. Billy Graham's television and radio programs further expanded his societal impact. In the late 1950s, Graham realized the power of television and decided to bring his sermons to the small screen. In 1951, his television program, Billy Graham's Hour of Decision, spread across America. This program helped deliver his message to millions of people. At the time, television was becoming an integral part of daily life, and Graham utilized it as a tool to broadcast his message to a wide audience. His programs weren't just limited to religious content. They also raised awareness about social issues and important matters in human life. Chapter 6. Personal Life and Family. In addition to his ministry, Billy Graham's family and personal life played a significant role in his legacy. His wife, Ruth Bell Graham, was one of his most important supporters. Ruth played a crucial role in Billy's career, always offering him spiritual support. She was also a talented writer, and Billy never traveled alone or delivered sermons without her by his side as a strong partner. Many consider Ruth to have played a vital role in Billy's ministry. Billy and Ruth's marriage was held up as a model in the Christian world. Their relationship remained strong, marked by love and loyalty, even in tough times. Ruth was always by Billy's side, whether it was during his sermons, speeches, or events. Furthermore, Ruth helped strengthen the bond with the people by listening to her husband's sermons and offering him constant support. Ruth Bell Graham's writings and impact. Ruth was not only a wife, but also a significant writer and poet in her own right. In her books, she candidly explored family life and marriage, drawing inspiration from her personal faith. Her works offered wisdom on marriage and family, while highlighting God's love and forgiveness. Billy Graham's family not only provided him with spiritual support, but also helped create a structure that made his ministry even more effective. They always moved forward as a team, demonstrating the strength of their unity. Chapter 7. Billy Graham's Later Years and Legacy. As the years passed, Billy Graham aged, but he continued to be involved in religious activities up until his final years. In the early 2000s, due to his advancing age and health issues, he began participating less in large events. However, he still reached a broad audience through television programs, books, and speeches. His final crusades. In 2005, Billy Graham held his final crusade, marking the last major evangelistic event of his 60-year career. This event, in 2005, was the pinnacle of his ministry, with millions of people around the world witnessing it via television. 2011, illness and withdrawal. In 2011, Billy Graham withdrew from public life due to health problems. After this, he rarely appeared in public. However, even in this period, his influence continued to resonate within Christian communities in America and worldwide. His personal and societal impact continued well into his final years. Billy Graham's legacy and death. Billy Graham passed away on February 21, 2018, at the age of 99. His death deeply affected not only his family, but the entire world. However, his legacy lived on through his preaching, books, and social influence. Billy Graham, one of the most influential evangelists of the 20th century, left behind a legacy beyond his sermons. His impact transcended religious leadership, and he became a symbol for improving society, guiding people toward righteousness, and advocating for peace, love, and tolerance on a global scale. Chapter 8. Billy Graham's influence on modern spiritual leaders. Billy Graham's influence continues to shape contemporary preachers and spiritual leaders. Many of today's most popular preachers have adopted his preaching style and methods of connecting with people. For example, modern figures such as Joel Osteen, T.D. Jakes, and Rick Warren have largely modeled their preaching and communication styles after Billy Graham. His use of television and media to connect with the masses has served as an example for this new generation of evangelists. Today's preachers, using Billy Graham's methods, now reach vast audiences via social media, television, and the Internet. However, the key difference is that while Graham's ministry always involved speaking to physical crowds, today's preachers largely operate in the digital realm. And so, we've come to the end of our deep dive into the life and legacy of Billy Graham. His life is not only the story of a preacher, but also of a leader, an advocate for social change. Billy Graham did not just preach faith, he made tremendous efforts to make the world a more just and peaceful place. His legacy lives on, not only within the walls of churches, but in the hearts and lives of millions. If there's one thing we can learn from Billy Graham today, it's that the power of love and peace is a universal message that unites people. If this video was inspiring to you, please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more content. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more content like it, feel free to share your thoughts with us in the comments section. We'd love to hear more about your thoughts on Billy Graham's influence and legacy. See you in the next video. May God bless you and guide you in every step. Goodbye, and see you in the next video.